What's going on, everybody? It's your boy T Danzy. You are now tuned in to Get Right.
Everything goes, nothing goes. Back it and flip it, whatever. It's a DBS sound. Wait for the breakdown. Perfect.
Everyone lift up, get right, get hype, head nod, bounce if you feel vibes. It's time to make move, make do whatever I got. I'ma give you, wish you a better life. Haters always checking, making sure my level's right, but I'm making sure my max is right. Kilo tight, attacking the mic, not underestimated. Like this a new day, I'm broke, time to make this money right.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Get Right Then podcast. I'm your host, T Danzy, and today, man, we have a very special guest. 8-year NBA pro player, man, serial entrepreneur, Mr. Trevor Booker. Trevor, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm great, man. It's really exciting. Growing up, man, we see NBA players as just like superstars, man, especially loving ball, especially in North Carolina, man, the hoop state. You know, NBA players are like guys growing up, man. So, but a lot of times, man, we see NBA players play, and then that's kind of like after they retire, man, you don't really see much. You see so many stories of NBA players going broke, things like that. And I think, man, it's really dope to see you, man. You look just as busy post-retirement with the entrepreneurship, man. So, I mean, how did you even get started with being in so many different businesses post your time in the league?
I think it all started probably once I got into the NBA. You know, I'm from a small town, Whitmire, South Carolina, a town of 2,000 people.
Wow.
I grew up in the National Forest, so literally, like we had a ranger station.
Oh wow! Damn.
So you know, growing up, I didn't get to see much, you know, outside of that. Mm-hmm. But once I went to college, you know, we started to travel, and you know, my mind started to open up, you know, a lot more. Then once I got to the NBA, you know, my mind really started opening up,
mm-hmm.
and that introduced me to some things.
Word.
It introduced me to different people. You know, I had different vets on the team, mm-hmm. and they would talk about, you know, business and all of that. So I got very interested. My mind just became super open, and you know, business is just one of those things that, you know, always intrigued me. Mm-hmm. So once I got, you know, wind of it and got my feet wet, you know, I started to dive in. I started to take advantage of, you know, my image of being an NBA player, mm-hmm. Utilizing the resources that were given to me, networking. You know, everybody wants to meet an NBA player.
For sure.
So I would use that to my advantage when I, you know, to network. Mm-hmm. And I just started, you know, learning over time, getting experience with business, listening, going to seminars, whatever it was. And then, you know, from there, you know, it just took off.
Yeah. And man, speaking of hoops, man, one of the biggest investments I've seen you was with Combine Academy. So it said you started that with $2,000, correct?
Yep, $2,000. Me and my best friend Jonah, we started it from the ground up. Just $2,000 for a website. He had access to a emailing list because he had experience helping his mentor run American Basketball Institute.
Okay.
So he was the spearhead of that, Jonah was. And, you know, he was the chauffeur, he was the RA, he was the chef, he was the trainer.
Oh, yeah, he was doing it all.
Yeah, he did everything, you know, to start off, you know, to get us to where we are today. Just because we had, you know, I was in the NBA, I had money, but you know, I'm very frugal with my money. Mm-hmm. So, and he realized that, and he didn't want me to put, you know, much money behind it anyway. You know, him being my best friend and looking out for me. So, you know, we basically just bootstrapped everything. He used my image as an NBA player, and he did everything else behind the scenes. Okay. And, you know, now, you know, we've grown that to over 60 acres of land, you know, where the campus sits, mm-hmm. And over 100,000 square foot of building space, mm-hmm. building fields and building space.
Okay. Yeah. And man, you know, I'm from Hickory, North Carolina, and so Lincoln is right up the street from us. Yep. And so seeing Combine in Lincoln was just kind of crazy to see because anybody know Lincoln, it ain't really much to Lincoln at all.
Right.
And so what made you guys choose that as a location rather than, I saw you guys started like Mint Hill, Matthews area, but you know, what made you guys settle in building everything in Lincolnton?
Well, back in the day before we became an actual high school, we used to, operate out of, whatever we could find. We used to, rent gym space. At one time we had a headquarters with, it wasn't even a full court, it was a half court, and it was a rubber court.
Okay.
So, those were the trenches days. So we started, that way. And then, we slowly grew. And then eventually, we got to a point to where, we had a staff member, I think he was our general manager at the time. He found this not land, but he found, he was on LoopNet and he found this space, this campus. It used to be a church.
Okay.
And they were basically, just giving it away. So we inquired about it, and eventually, we ended up buying it.
Okay.
Buying that whole campus, that church campus, renovating it, and making it, our own. And we've been there since 2017. And, we've made some, big changes to it. But now, we're happy to call it, home.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wanted to ask if we can take it back. Like, how was it transitioning from the NBA into your actual investment process?
Super easy.
Yeah.
Super easy. But for most people, it's not that easy. Just because I got started while I was playing.
Okay.
And, I'm thankful to have, Jonah. He was able to manage everything, while I was playing. And at the same time, I could learn and, get experience while I was playing. It's crazy how many athletes reach out to me, while they're playing or when they're about to stop playing and be like, yo, I don't know what to do next. All I know is basketball. And that's hard to hear. So, one of the reasons why, I go so hard and like people to know my story and see what I do is, to inspire other athletes to, get started early, figure out something that you can, do, after basketball while you're playing. Because, I get, you'll be surprised how many players come to me and ask me, what can they do? What can they get into?
For sure.
So it's tough to hear. But, hopefully I can be some sort of change.
Yeah, and I think a kind of question with that is you actually do hear some stories about NBA players, trying to invest while they're still playing. And kind of like you said, you had Jonah that's just kind of held stuff down because when you're in the league, I'm sure that's your full 100% focus. But you hear players trying to do that and then getting taken advantage of sometime. And listen to some of your past interviews. It sounded like you guys had somebody on your team at first, and then, you had to get rid of them at a certain point. So how do you just kind of make sure and kind of lock in your team, making sure that, things like that don't happen to you and, you're making safe investments with your money?
It's not easy. I think the biggest thing is just finding somebody that you trust, and you just don't. A lot of the athletes don't know who to trust. They hear everybody else has a financial advisor, so they gonna get a financial advisor. I don't know. The usual process is somebody brings you a financial advisor, you interview them, you see if you feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, you never know that person.
Yeah, for sure.
You never know, and then if you don't understand, the stuff that they're putting you in or the different type of moves that they're making with your money, you don't know if they're taking advantage of you or not. Yeah. So, that's why a lot of these, athletes are being taken advantage of and they never know it. So it's a tough situation. But thankfully, I had Jonah. And I'm pretty smart myself.
Yeah.
So I would keep up, with all of my money, all of my transactions, and I did have a financial advisor, at one point, but the financial advisor, it was, I asked him, he was putting me in vehicles that made him extra money, extra fees, and we figured that out, on our end. So we went to him and asked if we could, cut the fees. And he wasn't willing to do that, so I parted ways with him.
Gotcha.
I made a decision to go another direction. And I actually at that point, I took all of my money out of the stock market, and that's all it was in. You know, that's all. Really, honestly, that's all of these financial advisors do.
Yeah.
You know, they put you, they just throw you in the stock market, and they make money off of that. And honestly, you know, it's a easy way to make. On average, I think it's like 8% to make, you know, returns yearly. Honestly, they could just an athlete can just throw his money in the S&P 500 and make, you know, the same returns, and they don't have to have anybody taking those fees.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know, many athletes don't know that. They just see somebody, you know, a financial advisor managing their money, the title, and all of that stuff. But if they actually, you know, understood it, and you know, I think a lot of things could be different. But I think it was when Donald Trump was in office. I think everything was, you know, super volatile. We had got our feet wet in real estate. We had a few properties under our belt. So I decided, you know, at that time, once I fired my financial advisor, take all of my money out of the stock market and put it into real estate. Because the real estate returns were way better.
Crazy.
Real estate is just, you know, it's more of a hold. It's not as liquid as the real estate as putting in the stock market. But I was cool with that. I had money. I'm fine. So I was willing to, you know, hold that money, you know, buy the property and just rent it out, and you know, make my money off appreciation. Well, most of it off appreciation, you know, in the long term. So yeah, that's the story with the you know, financial advisors and just knowing who to trust.
Yeah.
What do you feel that was the biggest? What do you feel that was like the most prominent horror story that you've heard? You don't have to give any names or say anybody's name specifically, but what was some of the horror stories that you heard about, like people getting taken advantage of when, like, if you were coming in the league or post league?
I mean, I think one of the biggest ones, you know, is public. I think Tim Duncan, his financial advisor.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Yep.
Yeah, you know, took advantage of him, and Tim is a bright guy. So that's what makes it, you know, even more scary. You know, even, you know, the smarter guys that understand money and things like that, they're still capable of being taken advantage of, just because it's just so many greedy people out here, and you just don't know who to trust.
Absolutely.
And I think he had been with that guy for a while, so it's no telling, you know, how long, you know, the guy was taking money from him. So it's just stories like that, you know, that just, you know, I just don't understand how people can take advantage of people like that.
And I think it makes it. I think it makes it easier once you build that rapport with somebody. I don't think Tim Duncan was even realizing, like, dealing with his financial advisor, that he would do something like that.
Right. He built, you know, that financial advisor over the years, probably, you know, built trust with him, and
Sure.
Tim, you know, he felt, you know, comfortable with him, where he, you know, didn't have to second guess him or look over his, you know, whatever he was doing. So that made it a little bit easier for the financial guy to take advantage of him.
Right. And do you feel like there's some protocols with you when in your vetting process, when you're dealing with, like, investors or anybody you have to do with something with financial advice or anything financial?
Oh yeah, I have a whole team behind me, spearheaded by Jonah. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say, you know, that I can't be taken advantage of, but it's gonna be super difficult to take advantage of me, just because, not because I have a team, but just because I understand business myself, and I'm very hands-on. You know, every decision is made by, you know, me and Jonah, and I'm in every decision. But you know, just being well versed and knowing what you're getting yourself into, you know, that plays a big part in not getting taken advantage of.
Right. Correct.
So you had an 8-year career in the NBA. First question I want to ask is, do you feel like you could have played longer if you wanted to?
Definitely. But I looked at where I was in my career. You know, my body, it started to break down on me. I didn't do, you know, the best of taking care of my body while I was in the league, just because I was so athletic, you know, and being young, I'm like, you know, I'm be athletic forever. You know, but it doesn't work like that. I didn't stretch out the games, you know. I, you know, come home after the game, eat a big ass bowl of sugar cereal. I just didn't do the right things to you know, prolong my career. But I still think I could have, you know, played, you know, internationally. But I just wasn't, you know, willing. I had foot surgery after my 2018 season.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just wasn't willing to go back through that grind of, getting back into shape. I was out for 6 months and my daughter, she was going into high school. My kids, they're in sports. I had business going, I had a lot going. So, it made the decision, easier. It was still tough just because I felt like I didn't go out on my own terms, but, that's most athletes. They don't get to go out, on a Kobe farewell tour. But I'm happy, with my 8-year career.
And that's really what I was going to lead into. Do you feel like, doing all the investing you were doing while you were playing kind of made it easier to make that transition once it came time for it?
Yeah, definitely. Just because it gave me something else to occupy my time.
Yeah.
I'm used to, being in the gym, 3 or 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 hours a day, every single day, just having something to occupy my time. But, after I finished playing, I still had something to occupy my time. So I just wasn't, sitting around and not doing anything. So that definitely made it a lot easier. And I had, that money, some more money coming in, from investing. So I didn't have once my paycheck stopped, my NBA paycheck stopped, I didn't, feel like I had to go out there and, do whatever.
Yeah. And so going back to Combine real quick, so you said you guys got to campus back in 2017, correct?
Yep.
And I'll say for me personally, I first heard about Combine with Rob Dillingham, he was from Hickory, man. I was like, Combine, kind of never heard of it, and then I saw y'all were located in Lincoln. What was it that you feel like kind of made you guys take that next leap into where now you guys are just as big as IMG and all those other high school athletic facilities?
Yeah. We, Jonah, he was a walk-on at Clemson, so he was my teammate. So we're huge basketball guys. Huge basketball guys. So we came up with the decision, let's grow this basketball program. Let's make it our staple. Let's go out here and recruit and get these players. Let's hire, a notable head coach. Let's build this basketball program up, and everything else will follow. So, we made the decision to go out and search for, a prominent coach. Yeah. And we came across Jeff McGinnis, former NBA player and a local Charlotte guy. So we were like, he's perfect. Yeah. So, we met with him, and we ended up hiring him. He did a great job of bringing in talent and helping us build up the program. So that's how we got started, building up, Combine Academy's, brand and basketball, program.
Gotcha. So you touched on it some. What really got you guys, now you guys have JB Fitzgerald Real Estate. What particularly got you guys into the real estate space? And I know you touched on it some, just about, with financial advisors saying, okay, we're going to take our money out of stock and put it fully into real estate. But what just kind of made you go like, this is going to work? And you guys, I see you now buy, multifamilies and duplexes. I mean, you have hundreds of different real estate properties under you guys' belt now.
Yep. So it's we got started from Combine.
Okay.
We had these. It's before we had the campus. And we had these kids that we would have to house. So we would go out and rent apartments. Okay. And somebody gave Jonah the advice: if you got these kids, that's paying you to house them every year, why not just go buy your own instead of that's paying somebody else rent to use their spot. So we went out there, we got our feet wet. We bought, our first property was a duplex. I want to say it was back in 2014, I want to say. So we bought a duplex and, we would put the kids in there. They would live in there. We had an RA, but that was our first time getting our feet wet in real estate. And then, we figured out how it worked. We got familiar with it. And once we got familiar with it, it was a wrap after that. We just, continued to slowly buy. And then, once we really got the process down and understood everything, the different advantages of it, a lot of people, they don't understand, the different advantages of it. Like, it's cash flow. The property appreciates, on average every year. And then you can appreciate it on your taxes. It's just so many advantages, to real estate that people don't know about. But, once we understood all of that, then we started to dive in, even more. And today we have over 300 doors.
Man.
What do you feel like in real estate was the most lucrative for you and your investment company? Was it buying whole? Was it wholesaling? Was it just
Definitely buy and hold.
Yeah.
The wholesaling, it's quicker money.
Yeah.
But the buy and hold, if you can buy a property and put a tenant in there, and they pay the mortgage for you.
Yep.
And then on top of that, you can charge a little bit more than the mortgage and have a little bit of cash flow coming back. But the biggest thing is just that appreciation, every year. Say you bought a property, for $100,000, just throwing out numbers. That property is going to appreciate at least 5% every single year, but probably more than that, depending on the neighborhood that it's in. And then in 10 years, however many say it appreciated 5 years, and then 10 years down the line, that's 50%. So now that property is worth 150. So it's just that the appreciation of it, and then the appreciation, like I said, that cash flow. It's just so many avenues to take advantage. But the biggest advantage I think I like about real estate is the bank will lend to you. That lending. Like once the bank see you know what you're doing, and you have equity built up in your properties, you can refinance it, take that money out, and you can do whatever you want with it. But go buy more real estate. Right. Go buy more real estate. You buy real estate with that money, sit on it for a few years, and then guess what? You go back to the bank, to show the bank, I got equity in this property. They get it appraised and see how much it appraised for, how much you owe. And then you just take money out of that property, and then you go buy more property. It's just a rinse and repeat, know.
Yeah.
And so you've talked about like all the positive sides of your investments. What would be some advice for people, like some of your worst investment decisions? Like what would be some advice for people to just to stay away from?
I had a couple of investment decisions early on, in my investing career. I started a record label. It was during the time when I was playing. But you see you got money coming in, so you got those big checks. You feel like you could do, anything. You see, I thought I had an artist that could, really do something. So I put a little bit of money behind it, started my own record label, Book It Entertainment. It didn't, I didn't put much money behind it. I want to say it was like $15,000 to $20,000, but I soon realized, it's going to take a lot more money than $15,000 to $20,000
to bring an artist, right?
So I had a decision to make, whether to just lose that 15 to 20K and then stop right here before I get even more too deep, or just keep investing and see where I can go. And I was like, fuck that, I'm frugal. I'd rather lose this 15 to 20K.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did not see an investment later, and just keep pouring into the artists. It's hard to break artists. It's hard.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And so I want to touch real quick one more time on real estate. I think one thing I just admire, and you kind of went into it even as you were talking about it. As a former real estate agent, I think the biggest thing I got into it for was just to learn the game and be able to educate people. And I think what I like the most about you guys' page is you could easily just post all the properties you all get, but with every time you guys make a purchase or acquisition, you give detail of what it is, how you guys did it. You show how you guys profited from it. You even try to show difference between equity, how you use that equity to buy more, etc. And I just want to commend you all for that, because I think that's really important, especially in the Black community. Like, we don't know, like a lot of our, especially for me, like, my grandparents owned property, but it was back when it was so cheap. Like, sometimes they don't even know the most education about it, or how to tell us to invest and use equity. They were using that equity just to be able to pay bills off and stuff like that. They weren't even able to use it to invest in more properties and stuff. So I just wanted to commend you all on that too. That's really important.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit with the record label, but you guys also have JB Fitzgerald the venture capitalist firm. And that, like I said, that was one of the, I think Andre Iguodala more recently came out with one, but that was one of the first times I feel like I heard an NBA player coming up with that. So how did that come about?
Just being into, networking while I was in the NBA. I came across a lot of people, a lot of high up people, and another thing, my vets, they will always talk about business. So that networking just led me to, different business opportunities. And it's crazy because, when I was playing and I would, once we got into venture capital, I would go searching, for these deals. I had some, pretty interesting deals come across my desk, but I would go searching. And then, once I really got into it, we started investing. People, knew what we did and that we knew business, a little bit. And we knew what we were doing. It's crazy how it turned, and I didn't have to go search anymore. Things just started flowing to me. So we made the decision, let's start our own fund. And that's what we did. With JB Fitzgerald, started a fund. We started investing into different startups. One Shark Tank product called Nobo. It's an eco-friendly shampoo that's in hotels. DC United, the soccer team, minority stake in there. We got some pretty cool investments. Hoop, it's an artificial intelligent basketball goal. We had some very interesting opportunities come our way. And we definitely took advantage of it.
That's super dope, man. And so speaking on those, what do you feel like is probably your favorite investment you've made from that, and then kind of why it's your favorite?
My favorite, I would probably have to say the Hoop, the artificial intelligent basketball goal, just because it's in my space that I'm very familiar with, basketball. And I know, and I got to actually, try it out, and I know where it could go. If you actually, it's HUUPE. Okay. If you look it up, it's a basketball goal, a very durable basketball goal with a TV screen like in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
It tracks your shots, and it has a subscription model where you can put trainers on the screen and they tell you what workouts to do.
Okay.
You can also play against other people around the world if they have one.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. If you look it up, it's pretty dope, and it's actually in the manufacturing stage right now.
Okay.
So it should be. We should be launching soon.
Okay. That sounds great, man. You got anything else real quickly?
That's pretty cool. I think as we move forward in the future with artificial intelligence, I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's probably one of those things, just like real estate, like a buy and hold, but you'll see the residual down the line.
Yep.
Since you invested in artificial intelligence, where do you see that going? Since everything is going electric, everything is just going to so far in technology, where do you think that's going to go?
As far as artificial intelligence,
as far as artificial intelligence is concerned.
It's gonna be, huge.
Scary.
It's gonna be a huge part of the future, but at the same time, it can be good. But I can see it going wrong.
Okay.
Just
like
because
some iRobot type shit. Or?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at a lot of these movies like that, like 20 years, after they come out, a lot of this shit, come to fruition.
For sure.
And I can see that iRobot shit, really happening. That's the scary part about it. It's no rules and regulations right now, on what they could do as far as artificial intelligence. So I think it's it's gonna be companies out here with manpower. They're gonna have somebody at the top, that's very greedy, and they're gonna develop some kind of AI to where they can control it, and they can be very greedy and try to control the human population or something crazy like the government. I think the government they have to step in and make some rules and regulations for the safety of our people.
For sure.
I just don't see that happening right now. They want to, bicker and argue over dumb shit instead of, stuff that really matters.
Yeah. And I feel like it's going to take people's safety being jeopardized before it's like, all right, maybe we should make rules now of like, when like you kind of said, we should get ahead of that and say, all right, let's make something now to prevent, tragedies happening. But like you said, it'd probably be some tragedy like, oh wait, let's pull it back in.
But like even in the workforce, like this even happened in India. Like they were using artificial intelligence for like a call center and wiped out 85% of their staff.
Yeah,
and it's like, what's going to happen to the workforce? Like what's going to happen to like most of people's jobs? Where like, okay, if I can build somebody's voice in, or I can have a technology or a computer do it, like what's going to happen to anybody's jobs? Like, so that's going to be.
And that leads me. That's a great point. And that leads me to another point. I think artificial intelligence is going to make it's going to make it a lot more easier for the government to manipulate us. With them being able to now use different people's voices. They building these robots that actually look like people. I'm not gonna lie. I think the future is fucked. I think mankind. Mankind is really fucked.
Yeah.
They already manipulate us, and and use us. The government does, and whoever is actually the higher ups of the world. They manipulate us now, but just wait. 10, 15 years from now, when artificial intelligence has really kicked in, we're not going to know what to believe.
Yeah.
And the sad part is we don't know how to unite enough to cause some uproar and come together and make a difference and voice our opinions, because they're manipulating us and trying to divide us. So it's a whole bunch. If we actually knew how to unite, we could our voices could be heard, but we just don't know the right way to do that yet.
Yeah, unification, man. And I think, man, a big thing, and you kind of touched on it, but a big thing, educating ourselves just like on everything, because like you said, they manipulate us, but one of the biggest manipulations is money. Like when you don't know if you about to eat, you don't know if you got to have a place to stay, that's all that's on your mind. You can't even think about unification. You know what I'm saying? But really, like unification could probably be a solution to all those different things too, like getting proper housing, fighting against gentrification, things like that. And you know what I'm saying? But like money just got so many people's like mind on a, you know what I'm saying? Like they can't, and just the society we in. So no, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Another business, man, you recently opened a restaurant as well in Charlotte, man. So just talk about that a little bit and kind of how, what kind of motivated you to get into that industry.
Yeah, it's called Fume Kitchen and Cocktails, up near the university area.
Old Wild Wing, right? The Old Wild Wing Cafe?
Well, it's right beside that.
Oh, right beside, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if y'all were familiar with Paparazzi.
Oh, yeah, Paparazzi.
It's right beside the old Paparazzi.
Okay.
Yeah, Fume Kitchen and Cocktails, but...
And Red 28 was there too, right?
It's that space. We took over that space.
Okay.
But Fume, one of my partners, he owns Stats.
Stats,
Yeah, Lou.
I was just about to ask. I was like, doesn't Lou like is a part of that too? Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's my partner. Okay. But once Red went out of business or moved their location, Lou came to me and it's like, I got a perfect location to open up something.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's do it. He had the experience in it. So, we put our brains together, me, him, and Jonah, and was like, and I was like, if we do something, it's going to have to be upscale. I'm not going to do, just anything.
Yeah, for real.
So, that's what we came up with, Fume, Kitchen and Cocktails right there. And then, the old Red at 28th. And we've been, booming. Booming. Not to, toot our own horn or anything like that, but I think we have probably the hottest name in Charlotte right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been great. We got our feet wet with that. Now, we understand that space. So now we want to take that success, and start another location, open another location. Right now, we're looking, at potentially Raleigh, potentially Greenville, South Carolina.
Shout out to the R.
So that endeavor, has gone, great so far.
Yeah. And I think, man, just with people local to the area, I think it's necessary for a spot like that in that area. Like, it's so college heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there are people, with like upscale things over there. So
There's a lot of black people in the area.
Yeah,
too.
man, it is. Like the University, Mallard Creek area, there's a lot of black people over there, man. So it's really, really good to see. And that's why I'm like, when I always like looking at it upscale, I assumed it was downtown. So when I figured out in that area, I'm like, I gotta stop by more often. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm right there I'm right there, like about 5 minutes away from there. So
And for all the men out there,
be there?
it's women heavy.
I'm about to say they be there, boy. I be seeing the pictures. They be there, boy.
It's women heavy. So if y'all looking, that's what it come to.
Okay.
Yeah. So quick, kind of going back a little bit. What ended up making you come or settle down in Charlotte? 'Cause I know you said you were from South Carolina.
Yep.
What made you decide? Okay, Charlotte's where I want to be, and it's real estate wise, living wise, just kind of everything.
I kind of just fell in love with Charlotte. I would spend my summers here when I played.
Okay.
And I just kind of fell in love with the city. With me being an NBA player, and I got used to that city life.
Yeah.
So I had to be close to a city once I retired, and I just fell in love with Charlotte, and I just seen the growth. And I have family here. My wife has family here.
Gotcha.
So we just made everything our headquarters out of Charlotte.
Got you.
Yeah,
You got something?
I was listening. I was like, yeah, okay. That was really. I mean, because honestly, everybody, it's like millions of people moved to North Carolina a day, so it's just like. It's kind of like a no-brainer that you would start a lot of your business with here in Charlotte, and I can tell like a lot of people moving to Charlotte because people can't fucking drive. I'm getting I'm
Coming from New York, that's what it is.
I'm like,
that's
bro,
a whole
all
nother
these
thing.
niggas from New York
New
just
York.
coming here and fucking shit up with this driving. They just shooting out here and don't know how to fucking brake or stop or just go 90 miles per hour. Bro. I'm like, bro, y'all could just stay up here and then talk about how great New York is, bro. Like, bring your ass back up there. Man.
But real quick, especially dealing in real estate, that's a big part of the real estate market. Is a lot of people from up north are come down buying these $400 and $500 cribs cash. Well, we used to, we not used to that because most of us, they used to properties being $1 million up there. They like, we can get something 400. Like, we got cash down here, so they coming up and buying a lot of the cribs here, and that's why you see a lot of original Charlotteans kind of like having to migrate and kind of being pushed out because of that too.
Yeah. The cost of living is a big
going
ass
crazy.
difference than New York.
Yeah.
So that's definitely why they're coming down here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people should just understand about just go ahead and like a lot of people are getting scared to buy. Like
Yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
it's literally if they get into your business like no other, like they will be up your ass. Every penny that you make, they will look at
Yeah, for
and
sure.
ask you where it come from. Because of the whole money laundering thing, the CFPB, all that, the CFPB and all that shit like that. But it's not scary to buy. Go ahead and buy. That would be my advice too. Because just go ahead and buy because it's not that scary. It's
That's
not
what
that
I be
scary.
telling I always push people to go ahead and buy. I
Just
mean,
go ahead and
and how
buy.
do you personally feel about the Charlotte market in general? I actually heard somebody from Texas, and they were one of my people. They were talking to their boys from Texas, and they was a real estate investor. He's like, "Oh, you in Charlotte? And I might need you to look at me some properties up there. Like Charlotte's kind of one of the biggest." Real estate markets in the nation right now. How you feel about that?
Yeah, Charlotte is a great market to buy just because, the price point. But we don't, specifically just look in Charlotte. We look, all over. Anywhere that makes sense, we dive into, if the numbers make sense, we dive into it. But Charlotte, it's a great market though.
Yeah.
So transitioning into something other than business, something a little bit more fun. Who is your favorite NBA player to go against?
Yeah, I was getting right to the NBA question.
Yeah.
To go against?
Yeah, who is your favorite NBA player to go against?
That's tough. I probably Dirk. Or Melo. Okay. Dirk at the end of his career, he could still give you a bucket. So, but he couldn't move as well laterally.
Right.
So you could go back down and attack him and give him a bucket. So I used to love that. Not getting scored on, but I used to play great defense on Dirk, and basically have a hand on his nose, and he was still splashing in my face,
bro. And Dirk is low key the most whitest black dude I've seen. Like, listen, but no, when I used to work for Charlotte Hornets. they were playing like old school music, like old school like funk music, old school like smooth R&B, and Dirk knew every one of those songs. He was on the jumbo monitor. I was like, dang, bro. And all the I guess they were young too. They were young black guys too. So they was like, I don't know this song, but Dirk was just like, has some problem. I was like, dang, Dirk.
He's married to a black woman.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta hear the Melo story. Melo, one of my favorite players ever. So yeah.
Yeah, Melo. We had a few battles. I remember one time we were playing in Madison Square Garden, and I got the assignment to guard Melo that game.
Oh yeah.
So that first half, locking them up.
Yeah.
Locking them up. Or some people just say he was just off in the first half. But in my head, I'm locking them up.
There's lots. Straps.
That's my shit. Yeah. So I'm going into the locker room, talking shit. He can't fucking score on me. Yada yada yada. And second half come out. Man, torched my ass. Yeah. They ended up winning, and I ain't have too much to say at the end of the game.
And what team were you on at this point?
I think it was the Jazz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was gonna be my next question. What was your favorite team you played for in the league?
Favorite team, favorite organization.
Yeah, organization. Yeah.
Favorite organization would probably have to be the Jazz.
Yeah.
I would have to say the Jazz. They just did everything right. It's a great organization, family oriented. I had my family out there.
Yeah.
So they just do a great job. And it's crazy because people don't understand how well a small market team has to that's very important for a small market team. The larger market teams, they can use the city and things to do out in the big cities to recruit players. But things like in the small market, things like taking care of their families and just doing everything the right way, making the players feel comfortable. Just because it's not as much to do, in a smaller market like Utah than like LA or something like that. Like stuff like that, is very important for like small market teams.
For sure. Hey, with Utah, Salt Lake City specifically, how did it feel living out there? Because I went there once, and before I went, I was doing all this research, and they were saying like black people struggle trying to find places to get haircuts, simple stuff like that. So like, how was it just that experience living out there?
Yeah, it was definitely different. It was only 5% black people in the whole state, I think. But we loved it. Me and my family loved it. It's family oriented out there.
For sure.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Very beautiful. It's not much to do, so I did get bored, a little bit. But I had basketball. I was out there to play basketball. I was in the gym most of the time. So I had my family out there. It was great. You had Park City right up the road. You can go, relax up there. It's a 5-hour drive to Vegas. I used to drive to Vegas, every now and then. So it was things to do, and but we loved it.
Yeah. Favorite teammate from the league?
Oh, favorite teammate. I don't know if I really had a favorite, but I still keep in touch with a few of the guys. Joe Ingles, Rudy Gobert, John Wall, Bradley Beal. I still keep in touch with a few guys throughout the league.
Okay.
And what was your most surreal moment like that you've had on the court, like meeting a player or something like that, somebody that you maybe grew up watching or something like that? What was the most like surrealist moment that you had?
The most surreal moment, that's a very easy answer. I got to play against Kobe in his last game ever.
That's crazy. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, so, y'all on Utah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Damn.
Yep. So that game, just being in that game was like, damn. You see all of these stars, in LA sitting courtside.
Yeah.
You got Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z, you got Kanye, just looking at the stands.
That's a crazy game to be able to play.
Hard, it was hard for me to play. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard for me to play, and it was hard for me to focus. Just knowing it's his last game, and it's just such a big deal. And my claim to fame is I was the last person to ever foul Kobe.
Hey, that is.
Yeah, so he had 58 points at the time. I fouled him, and he had those 2 free throws to get to 60.
Right. Damn.
Yeah.
It's like Jalen Rose and Trevor Booker. Like Jalen Rose and 81. That's super dope, man.
crazy.
I didn't even realize that, but yeah, man, that was I mean, like you said, like I don't think you can top. I don't think you can top that for the moment.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. And you got anything else?
Nah, that was good. That was good.
Man, all right, man. I gotta ask you, since you're an NBA player, NBA GOAT, man.
LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why
why?
LeBron?
Yeah.
Why LeBron though?
And then give me your favorite Bron moment while you was in the league.
If you just look at his career, you just look at him as a player, his overall game is the best that the league has ever seen. People make the argument that Jordan was clutch. He's probably more clutch than LeBron, but it's so many other categories out there.
Yeah.
And LeBron is just dominating every category. And I also think, the longevity of his career, you got to look at that as well. The way he's still putting up the numbers that he's putting up, his longevity. And one of the biggest things that I throw in, his social activism.
Yeah.
If that's what you call it. But he takes on social issues. I don't think Jordan ever did that.
Yeah.
That's a big ass burden,
That's a huge thing
to put on your back and then go out there and still perform.
Man.
Like all of that, you got to take into account. Because any little thing can affect your game.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he puts on his shoulders, it's massive. But for him to still go out there and perform, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think he's like, I call him, Black Jesus. I know some people probably call Jordan that, but I call him that just because, I don't think he was made, I don't think he was born from Gloria. I think he was made in the lab. He was made in the lab. You never hear anything about his dad. I've never heard anything. Jesus, Mary just had him. Gloria might be the same way, bro.
For real.
He got the chosen one on his back for a reason.
For real.
I've heard. What do you think about this comment? What do you think about this comment? I forgot who said it. They had a certain respect for Jordan, and they had like a certain mentality when it came to Jordan. And I don't feel like in the NBA, like when people play against LeBron, that they have that. Of course, I think he's the greatest player in the league.
Mario Chalmers said that, I think.
He said that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
It's just like they don't have that certain, like the way they be talking to him, but he still be going off. But they had like they had this like respect for Jordan. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about that comment?
Yeah. And do you feel like it's true playing with Bron? Do you feel like it's true that people don't really respect him?
They definitely
That's
respect him.
They do respect him.
I think what they were saying was when they had to face off against Jordan, they were like, "Fuck, I gotta play against Jordan." But it's not like that, against LeBron.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you the difference. Why? Jordan, he's gonna go at your neck every fucking time. LeBron is gonna make the right play. So you don't have to worry about LeBron going at your head every single time. LeBron can. LeBron can go out there and average 40 if he wanted to, but he's gonna make the right play. Jordan, he's gonna take it to your ass every single play. Trying to give you a bucket.
Okay. Yeah.
So people like once they line up, before the game, and they know they got to play Jordan. They like, damn, I got to guard this shit for 48 minutes. They play against LeBron. It's like, okay, he's not gonna go at my neck the whole time. He's gonna make the right play. So I don't, I don't have to worry about getting embarrassed, for 48 minutes.
Okay, that makes sense. I just wanted your take on that when we talk about GOAT status, because it honestly had made sense to me at the time. But somebody that's played in the league and played around this caliber players would know more than me, type thing.
Yeah.
And you talked on a little bit with him taking on a social activism burden, but man, even playing through the social media era, I think is different. Like something that Jordan didn't have to deal with as much, like the comments, the media, the everything you saying being picked apart, everywhere you going there's a phone, there's a camera, like I think like the privacy, the lack of privacy, like I think it's just way different
definitely.
now too.
And that could be a big ass burden as well.
Yeah. So man, I'm trying to think, make sure there ain't nothing I'm missing. You got anything else for it?
No.
Man, so we're gonna close it out, man. Really, really appreciative of anything you want to touch on, things you got coming on business wise for 2024, big things you got going on.
No, I don't think so. You just keep up with me. I got, of course, a lot of things going on. I'm always trying to make a difference out here. I want to see people succeed.
For sure.
So just just keep up with me and just see what what I got going on.
For sure. All right, so man, it's the first time I did this, but I got gifts today, man. So,
Okay.
So for you, man, it's an exclusive Get Right Then.
Okay.
Hot
That's
pink
what's up.
Get Right Then
Yeah.
Okay.
hat
That's
for
hot.
you, man.
Yeah.
I ain't even got that one yet.
Yeah.
So and then for my boy E.
Oh,
I
appreciate
got you
that.
a Get
Okay,
Right Then
okay.
tee
Hey,
too,
appreciate
man.
that, man. Hey,
That's a big thing for
thank you.
2024, man.
Okay.
Get Right Then
I appreciate
apparel,
it.
man. We
Yeah.
trying to get that out here, man, for
Yep.
sure. But last thing, man, every guest before they leave, they gotta hit a Get Right Then.
You can sing, man. You can
I
sing.
gotta sing it.
Yeah.
Get right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your turn.
Oh, I thought it was
Nah.
get right. Then.
Appreciate y'all, man,
Yes,
for
sir.
watching another episode of Get Right Then podcast. Please follow us at Get Right Then LLC on Instagram and TikTok, and we'll get right back to y'all soon. Peace.
You funny as hell, bro.